Along the journey of producing this CD, was it the same or was it different than the Christmas CD?
Both. It was the same in the sense that I knew it was going to be a process from writing the music to actually composing the music and then coming in and editing the music. I knew it was going to be a long process. The way that it's different, I think, is that it's non-seasonal, first of all. The first one was Christmas. You listen to it maybe 3 months in the year. This one is one you can listen to all year long. And the other thing that's different about this is it has some music that I wrote myself. They're not all covers like the Christmas one was. And so it's really unique and different in that way, and special to me in a different way.
What about the relationships that you've created over making the CD with your artists coming in?
Yeah, that's been really cool. At first I expected we'd just come in and we'd do some recording and it'd be in and out, but I found working with musicians, I did a little bit before on the Christmas CD, but it was with an old friend of mine and my family members, and so there was already a relationship there. But with some of my friends that I brought in, it's grown my relationships with them. I've been able to have time to practice with them, be in the studio, have them see maybe a different side of me and me see a different side of them. And when you spend 5, 6, 8 hours in the bottom of a cold basement with somebody, there's a kind of a natural camaraderie or bonding that takes place in the relationship. And so it's been a real blessing for me, and it's been communicated to me that it's been a blessing for others. And the other thing that blesses me is that these people would be willing just to come in and donate their time and their gifts to this project without expecting anything in return, and that's a huge blessing to have friends that would be willing to do that. Hello again. So today I'm going to talk about an old friend of mine from childhood. His name is James Loftis. And we met when I was 12 years old, back in the 80s. And back then we used to do everything together. We'd ride skateboards together, we'd ride bikes together, went to school together in elementary school. And, we just developed a good friendship. And we also found that we both loved music. He had a passion for drums, and I, of course, had a passion for guitar. But being a friend with James actually is what developed my interest in drums. And so I would play on his drum kit at times, and there were times where my older brother Ben and I and James would just jam together. We'd do a lot of rock, like Metallica and things of that nature. And eventually later on we developed some of our own music, and it was just an experimental stage for all of us, learning to develop our skills and what we wanted to do with music. And James was a part of that in my childhood. And so I'm going to take you to his interview and let you hear a little bit from him.
So what's your name?
My name is Jim Loftis.
And how long have you known Jeremie for?
I've known Jeremie since we were 11 and 12, 22 years.
22 years.
22 years.
What was your first memory of you and Jeremie together?
I guess it would be spending the night at his parents' house and talking to each other through the house fence and the floor.
There you go.
I think that would be a first memory.
And have you ever played with Jeremie before? Live or?
I don't think I played with Jeremie live. We played, in our bedrooms as kids and whatnot, and then we'd jam here and there with his brother, and that's about it, I think. And this will be, the actual time that we are spending together to create music for his record.
Gotcha. And so, what songs are you working on today?
Let God Arise, and the other song I believe is You're Worthy of My Praise.
Gotcha. And how long have you been working on these arrangements for?
I've been working on these arrangements for, I would say, a good 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
And then life would happen, and I had time, and I didn't get a chance to practice them, but I got back into it, and by the time I got back into it, Jeremie had a new version for me to play along to and learn. So altogether, probably about 6-7 months.
So when Jim is talking about practicing for 4 or 5 months, and then I'd have a new version for him to practice, that's part of the developmental process. So I would show him an initial recording of kind of a concept of what I'm wanting to do, and he would get kind of a basic idea and start practicing to that. And then when I would refine the piece, add more instruments, change the arrangement a little bit, and show him a new version, then he would have to kind of make additions and subtractions to what he's going to do based on the new version. So I think there was like 2 or 3 different versions that he practiced to before we finally had something final that was ready for him to come into the studio. So let's get back to Jim.
Okay. So what do you think about the arrangements that you're working on?
I think they're great. They are very well constructed and got a good flow to them, and yeah, they're really good.
And what got you interested in the project?
The interest of helping out a friend, and him coming to me and asking to play drums on his CD.
Okay. And how long have you been playing the drums for?
I've probably been playing the same length of time I've known Jeremie, maybe 2 years before that, so about maybe 23, 24 years. Long time.
Okay.
So when Jim talks about how long he's been playing, I think it's appropriate to just give you a little sample of the skill this guy has. I remember when we were kids, and he was like me, a novice. But as you develop your craft for a long time, you obviously develop skill. And Jim's a really good drummer. So check this out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And what aspect of drumming is your favorite?
Aspect of drumming, like style?
Yeah, your style. Or...
Well, back in the day, Jeremie and Ben and I were playing Metallica and all sorts of hard rock and stuff like that, and I've evolved into blues in my older years, and so rock and blues type stuff.
Okay, then mentally, when you get caught up drumming, where do you go mentally? Do things slow down before you speed up, or do you just get kind of lost and just go on autopilot?
I only go on autopilot when if I'm playing with other players and we're just kind of improvising and stuff like that. But when I have to concentrate on laying down a track that's going to be forever, I'll just try and listen to the music and what the bass is doing or whatever the piano's doing, and try and serve the song with the right drum approach.
Okay. And what do you hope you're able to get out of this project, and what other people are able to get out of it?
What do I hope to get out of it? Well, I've already gotten out of it what I already wanted, is to spend time with my buddy and make music with him, and he's asked me to do that, so that's really good. And I hope other people enjoy it as much as we do, or as Jeremie does. The process is fun, creating music.
Very nice. Okay. Well, I think that's all my questions. Anything else you want to say to anybody watching this, or to Jeremie himself?
Thanks, Jeremie, for bringing me aboard, and it's going to be a blast.
Perfect.
Thanks.
So, just like you saw in the video with Michael in the last episode, Jim and I had to go through a process of developing his drum solo. And since you saw what that process looked like in the last video, there's no need to go through all the different takes of him developing the drum solo. But I'll show you just a little bit of what that looked like in the dialogue that we had, and then I'll get back to you. So take a look. Yeah, but I also liked what you did with kind of after.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's talk about solo. Okay, I just needed to know what you wanted, because I wasn't feeling the whole, it doesn't fit the song to put a drum solo in there.
Exactly.
Just keep the beat with some fancy fills.
Yeah. Why don't you go over a couple of different things, and if I hear something really cool, I'll stop you. So imagine you're coming out of the chorus into that solo section, that breakdown section. And as you can see, the rehearsal with Jim is being done in his garage, which he converted into kind of a drum room so that he could practice. And that's what drummers do. They gotta be able to practice. And so we're doing the rehearsal there, and then we eventually end up in the studio. So take a look. So once all the rehearsals are done, all the practice is done, and he's basically ready to come in and start recording, we get to the studio, and the first order of business for a drummer is to set up the drum kit. And so here's a photo of Jim's drum kit. Now, something to keep in mind when you're recording drums, it's not like recording the guitar or the bass guitar or even the piano. This kit, you have to put a mic on every single drum. So the snare, the 3 toms, the kick drum, and every single cymbal has to have a separate mic. That way we can edit the drum kit in the editing session and single out each piece individually. So like when you're playing the drums and all of a sudden maybe there's a cymbal hit that is too hard, then we can just pull the volume back on that, or maybe increase the kick drum a little bit, or increase the snare, or pull back one of the toms. So each piece has to have a mic, and it took about 40 minutes to set up the drum kit and set up all the mics before we could even start recording. So let me show you just a sped up process of putting the kit together. Take a look. Just let it go.
Alright, so I'm just going to sit back, I'm going to face the window, Or am I want to face this straight?
You want to be able to see our faces.
Yeah, I'm going to set up straight this way towards this door.
Okay. Clark, is there a preference on what angle you want the kit set up? Him facing us?
I think it probably doesn't matter. Whatever.
Yeah, I was just going to face straight this way, maybe?
Yeah, that's probably good.
Just so I'm flush with the wall, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I can see you guys perfectly.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, Clark, how are we on the sound check? Almost ready?
We're getting there.
Getting close? Okay. Just about ready, Jim?
Just about.
Okay. Then once the drum kit is put together, we got to do a mic check on every single mic. Checking 1, 2. Got a good signal?
Yep.
All right. Then once the kit is put together and the mics are all in place, then we have to do a tuning of the drum kit. And yes, drums, just like guitars, need to be tuned. And when you take them, say, out of a car that's, in the cold, and you bring them into a warm room, and the wood expands and the heads on the drum move a little bit, they detune. So you have to, when the temperature changes on the drums, you have to tune them so that they sound right. So we took care of that, and then we started recording. So the first song that Jim worked on was You Are Worthy of My Praise, and the next one he was slated to do was Let God Arise. We scheduled a full day session so that we could just knock them both out at once, because like I just described, the process of transporting the drums, putting the kit together, miking them, it's very lengthy and tedious, and so we just wanted to get it all done at once so we didn't have to schedule a second session and go through all that, because in the studio, time is money. So here's a little peek at Jim playing on You Are Worthy of My Praise, and you'll notice that you can hear Michael's bass in this mix because he had already been recorded in the previous session. So take a listen.
Oh, sure. I think that was good. You happy with that? Yeah.
Yeah, and we can edit it a little bit to make it perfect. So, good job. You nailed it.
Okay, so I guess we're on to the next.
So that song took about 4 hours to record, and then once we got him done with that, then it was time to move on to one of the bigger songs I was doing for that album, which was Let God Arise. Now, like I told you in the last video, this is the jam session, so I brought in a number of different musicians, family and friends, to kind of have this big jam session, just like we used to do when we were kids. And so Jim's part was to come in and play the drums on that. And so before I show you that footage, I also want to say, with family, you know, like my brothers or, you know, friends, especially someone like Jim, you know, we've been cutting it up since we were kids. And one of the ways I show affection to people is I have fun with them and I tease them and we joke and we laugh. And so I just want to show you something that I did here that I still laugh about. It's just hilarious. Anyway, I'm not going to say any more. I'll just take you right to it. Okay, tomorrow I've got Jim coming in here to the studio. He's going to lay down some drum tracks. And Clark and I are going to play a prank on him this time. I've got all kinds of cool sound effects. And I got to explain how this is going to work. He's going to have the headphones on. When he has the headphones on, he gets ready to play when he hears the count. You know, like you'll hear 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he starts to play, so he knows he's on time. And what Clark and I are going to do is we're going to insert some sound effects to throw him off and just see what happens. So, you know, here's like an example. You know, just stuff like that. So we're going to just have some fun with that, and we'll see how this goes. Alright, so what should we do?
Oh, we could put in a tempo change right after.
A tempo change?
So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Enough, it'll really work.
Let's mess with them a little bit. Okay. So first I got to plug this in.
Yeah, let's try this.
This is so bad. This is gonna be good.
Okay, you ready? Yeah. All right, we'll go for a take here. Here you go. Very beginning.
Yeah, this is for real.
Yep.
Alright, cut. Ask him what's wrong.
Got a problem? That was the best drum sound we got all day, I gotta tell you. That just sounded awesome.
You having some technical difficulty out here?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, what's going on?
Got some crampage going on.
Yeah, next time I say you avoid the burritos.
Oh man, that was great.
Hey, Jeff, so that was good.
Huh?
The beginning,
Yeah, you got it. You got it. So,
we're gonna do it again.
we actually are going to do it for real now. So let me put my earplugs in. That was good.
This Which part?
You want to tell Mom hi?
Hi, Mom.
Now, also keep in mind, while I am recording Jim for this song, I am also shooting video, because every single musician that comes in for that song, I have to shoot the video for, and many different angles of video, so that the video is flowing and moving and looking like something that is professionally done and edited. And so I'm having to shoot video on top of keeping an eye of recording and basically arranging this in the moment. So there's a lot of things to keep an eye on from my end. So take a look at some of these different camera angles. And here's a little bit of Clark giving some of his insight and thoughts into the mix, which as I've worked with Clark, I've grown to trust his judgment. He has great ideas. He really knows his stuff. He's been doing it a long time. So anytime he wants to offer some input, it's welcome. So just take a look at that real quick.
That was pretty good. The transitions were a little rough. Again, we could punch those in. There's that one long, the last time where it sort of slows down, and there's like a long, you're doing the cymbals, you know, the mallets and stuff. Do you need a better cue for where that's done, where you come in?
At the guitar part, or there.
Yeah, the final, when you come back in the last time.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's on the third. That's what I'm going off of. There. Like,
Yeah, but I could actually, I think the metronome's playing for you all the way through there, right?
yeah, I believe so.
I could drop it out and then start it like 2 measures or something before you come in. Maybe that would be helpful.
Okay.
Let me set that up. Sure, Torn, maybe we could. Well, let's if you're up for it, let's try a whole other one and see if it gets any better, and then we may have to do a little punching. But let's see if we can get one tighter track for the whole thing.
The transitions.
Yeah, the transitions are the parts that are. I mean, we could keep this track and fix the transitions. It's kind of what I was thinking, but I'm thinking, yeah, maybe you got a better one in you anyway. So let's see if that happens, and then go from there.
Oh, that was cool. That was a nice little touch there. Okay, now we're gonna loop that solo.
Fabulous ending there. That was nice.
And now I want to just show you Jim's drum solo. So we started working on that in his garage during the rehearsal sessions. I think we had a couple of those. And then when we got to the studio, it honestly wasn't still fully put together. because it's the type of thing where it's not like doing a solo where there's, you know, you're in a concert and the drummer's doing a drum solo and he can do any beat he wants. No, this has to be in the context of the song, and so he has to keep the beat while doing interesting cymbal and fill work. And so we had to, between Jim and Clark and I, we had to collaborate and kind of piece together that solo in the moment in the studio. We had a basic idea of what we wanted to do, but it really didn't get finished until we were in the studio in session. And that happens a lot with musicians in session. So here is Jim's final solo, the final cut that made the final song and the music video. Take a look.
I didn't shut you down.
Thank you.
Jim Loftis, everyone. So there's the story of my buddy James. And Jim, if you're watching this, I just want to say thank you again. Even though we haven't seen each other for a long time, you know, every time we get together, it's like we never, you know, missed a beat. You know, we pick up where we left off. And I love you, buddy. I appreciate the work you did. I've enjoyed all the time over the years that we've spent playing music together and creating music together. And I wish you the best, man. God bless you, and thanks again. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that episode. Real quick, just want to give you some information. If you are looking for these albums, you can find my music on iTunes or Amazon MP3. There's other websites that are available on, but those are the most prominent. You just go into their search engines, you type in Jeremie Heston. My first name is spelled Jeremie, and my last name is spelled Heston. So type those in the search engines and the album should come up and you can download them. They're not very expensive. Also, if you haven't been able to follow every episode of the video series, both season 1 and season 2 are going to be available on YouTube. And you just simply type in Jeremie Heston, My Journey Making Music. And then of course, whatever episode number you're looking for. So for example, Jeremie Heston, My Journey Making Music, episode 1. Type that in and you'll be able to find all of the episodes. Season 1 has 22 episodes, and season 2 I think is going to have 10 or 12 episodes. I'm not sure at this point, but I'll put a little video at the end of those episodes when I get to that. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Thank you for your support, and God bless you.